After the death of a loved one or a significant loss, we are often faced with difficult choices. What goes where, who gets what to say or do. When we're faced with these situations, we can use curating as a beautiful lens for making these choices. Another reason why it's important to curate grief: as grieving people, we are facing circumstances outside of our control. Death, loss, illness. It can be very empowering to see the choices that we do have, to see what we do have control over, and to move forward from there. And that's why it's so important to choose with intention, to curate grief. This work, my grief work, it all started when my mother died 10 years ago. My mother, Marilyn, was amazing. When she died suddenly of a stroke in 2013, she left a 3,000 square foot dream house full of stuff, the belongings from a lifetime. And I had a common problem. Everything in my mother's house became precious. All of the little everyday things, her toothbrush, souvenirs on her shelves, all so precious. And I couldn't imagine letting any of it go. It's a common problem, having difficulty deciding what to keep and what to let go of after a loved one dies. My uncommon solution was curating and exhibitions. And that question, if I was to curate an exhibition about my mother, which 100 objects would I choose to display? That question changed everything. When my mother died, I was working as an independent curator in London. I was organizing exhibitions featuring the work of artists, ceramicists, and jewelers. When I would organize these exhibitions, I would curate. I would choose with intention which pieces of their work went into the gallery space, which pieces told the best stories about their work and their inspiration. That question, if I was to do an exhibition about my mother, which 100 objects would I choose? That question was a helpful question, but it was also a beautiful question. It did get me moving. I was able to empty out my mother's house to sell it. And that question was the start of my healing process. When I first asked that question of myself, this exhibition was an imaginary exhibition. But more than a year after she died, I did my first exhibition in person featuring my mother's belongings. This exhibition in London featured my mother's belongings, and I told stories about my mother. People asked questions about her. And looking back, I always say, this is the memorial I really wanted to give her. Often the official funeral, the official memorial doesn't quite feel right. It's really early in your grief, and there's a lot of decision by committee. Curating an exhibition about your person gives you the opportunity to really remember them and celebrate them the way that you want. Dealing with the practical and emotional aftermath of my mother's death was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. The hardest and one of the loneliest periods of my life. All of the choices I had to make about her stuff, about her house, about the estate. 10 years after she died, I'm now helping other people with their grief, with the stuff, the practical stuff, the emotional stuff. You don't have to do this alone. Now I use the lens of curating in my grief work in multiple ways. I present exhibitions about grief and loss under the name The Grief Gallery. These exhibitions put the spotlight on the belongings of loved ones who have died. The Grief Gallery's exhibitions take place around the world. Sometimes they're at design festivals in London and New York and Toronto. And now we have an installation in Los Angeles. And now I ask you, if you were to curate an exhibition about your person, what would you choose to display?